It is 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the November 12th, 2019 Board of Selectmen meeting to order. If everyone would rise for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Kathy Tendrich. Item C is to approve the meeting minutes from October 28th, 2019.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to approve the meeting minutes from October 28th, 2019. Item D is old business. Consider an act on the appointment of a volunteer fire investigator. So back in July of 2019, we had spoke about Travis Irons going to training school to be a volunteer fire investigator. So Travis has finished that, and he has received his certificate and his training. So tonight, and Paul Yellen is here to speak on behalf. Tonight we would like to appoint him as our volunteer fire investigator. So Paul, if there's anything that you would like to add to that, how that will affect the town.
Travis did very well during his certification program given by the State of Connecticut Department of Administrative Services, Bureau of State Fire Marshal. Did very well. His role is to assist me as fire marshal in investigations within the town of Plainfield. The fire investigator works for the local fire marshal and under his direction and control. He doesn't have the ability to do any code enforcement work or anything like that. That was not within the scope of the class. The class was solely for fire investigation, and that's what he asked for. As I said, he did very well. He's got his certifications. He's assisted at a couple fires while he was doing his classes, as well as after he finished. The fire at 735 Norwich Road, and last week the fire down here at Highway Campus. Very intelligent, very smart, always thinking about alternatives. He has a good initiative, and I think it's going to be a good addition to the office.
Do you have any questions, Jim? I know I don't. I know I was at one of the fires.
Yes, so was I.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's done an excellent. He's been very good in that.
So let me ask you this, Paul. When you're not available for a fire, I know he can't meet codes and stuff, but he can actually stop the investigation, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We have 3 deputy fire marshals in town that do have the ability to do full code work, sign permits, do inspections. If I am totally unavailable, out of the area, out of the country on vacation, or out sick, one of those deputy fire marshals would come in, and Travis would then assist him in doing the fire investigation. Until the point in time comes where he has the experience and the confidence and the ability to conduct a full investigation on his own.
Jimmy, do you have any?
No, I think, I'm sure Travis will do a wonderful job.
So I would like to make a motion to appoint Travis Irons as a volunteer fire investigator.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to act on the appointment of Travis Irons as a volunteer fire investigator.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul, for being here. So E is new business. Consider an act on tax refunds from the tax collector totaling $365.69 as follows. We have Nissan Infiniti LT for $42.50 and Toyota Lease Trust for $323.19.
I'll make a motion that we approve both of those tax refunds, Nissan Infiniti 4250 and Toyota Lease Trust for $323.19.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried to consider an act on the tax refund from the tax collector totaling $365.69 as read. Item number 2 is to set the date for the annual town meeting. So according to the charter, section 2-3, it needs to be the third Monday in November. So that would be Monday, November 18th at 7 o'clock in the town hall auditorium.
Do we need a motion for that?
I believe we did the last time, Ginny, so we'll do it and make sure that.
I'll make a motion that we set the date for the annual town meeting for Monday, November 18th at 7 p.m.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to set the annual town meeting date as Monday, 11/18 at 7 p.m. in the town hall auditorium. So item 3 is to discuss the resignation of the town clerk. So I received a letter on November 6th from Louisa Tracus, and I'll read that letter. It is with mixed emotions that I write this letter to give notice of my retirement as the Plainfield Town Clerk effective January 2nd, 2020. It has been a difficult decision to make, considering that I am an elected town clerk with a 4-year term which doesn't expire until November 2021. I have mulled over my decision for a long time, and with the support of my family, have decided that this is the right time for me to retire. I have absolutely loved my job as town clerk and have grown so much, both personally and professionally. Over the past 14 years that I have served the residents of Plainfield, I have always taken my duties and responsibilities very seriously. I appreciate the support given to me by the town and all of the educational benefits this support has afforded me. I am proud to have earned the designation of CCTC, Connecticut Certified Town Clerk, and MCTC, Master Certified Town Clerk, through the Connecticut Town Clerks Association and the CMC, Certified Municipal Clerk, through IIMC, International Institute of Municipal Clerks. I am very close to earning the designation of MMC, Master's Municipal Clerk, through IIMC. I will miss so many things about this job. Most of all, my staff in the town clerk's office, my co-workers at the town hall who work so diligently at their jobs, often with little respect and appreciation. I will miss working with the employees of the police department, the highway and sewer departments, the recreation department, the Plainfield seniors, and the school department. I have enjoyed all of our interactions and will miss the camaraderie. I will miss all members of the boards and commissions who volunteer their time to make the town of Plainfield better for its residents and its future. I will miss all of the volunteers in town, the members of the Plainfield Historical Society, the Lions Club, the Rotary Club, the Plainfield Business Association, all of the employees at the state agencies I have had the pleasure to work with, and all of my fellow town clerks who have mentored me and who I have mentored in Windham County and throughout the Connecticut Town Clerks Association and beyond. And of course, all of the residents of the town and all of the many visitors that come into the town clerk's office each day. The town of Plainfield, I'm sorry, Louisa, this is a long letter and you're so heartfelt. The town of Plainfield has such a rich history, some 300+ years, and I know that it will continue to thrive with the continued hard work and the residents and those who love and serve the town in various capacities. I am willing to continue working in the capacity of an independent contractor for several months if my services are needed to help ensure a seamless and smooth transition in the town clerk's office. I will reach out to the finance office for a calculation of my pension benefits and ask you to place my pension request on the agenda of the next pension board meeting on Tuesday, November 12th, 2019. I thank you all for your support you have given me during my tenure. Sincerely, Louisa Tracus. Thank you, Louisa.
So, I hate to do it though.
So Louisa, do you want to come up if I know that it's for January 2nd. So is there anything that you would like to add or say to that as far as the appointment of a new clerk or anything? And please don't feel like you have to, because you don't.
No, probably, most people know a lot of the biggest part of my job, or one of the biggest parts of my job is reading charter, helping interpret charter, trying to follow charter, and reading 15+ volumes of statutes to try to make sure we're doing the right thing all the time. So in our charter, it states under vacancies that the town clerk will be replaced with somebody of the same party, so that would be a Democrat, until the end of the term, which would be November 16th, 2021. So having said that, the next Board of Selectmen coming in will have that job of determining who the best person for the job is. When you talk about qualifications, so there really are no qualifications, as you know, in a regular private industry position. Nobody is going to be certified to be a town clerk who lives in Plainfield, because if there's, because it's an elected position. There are people outside of town who, some assistants who become certified as assistants, but I don't believe any of those assistants live in Plainfield. So, I came in pretty green, and I've been here for 14 years as town clerk, 6 years prior to that, so for a total of a little over 20. I learned, and somebody else will learn, but there is a lot to learn, so be patient with that, please. And hopefully, my staff at this point are 2 assistants, and thinking they're going to be here for a little while, and they'll help whoever comes as much as they can. Thank you, everybody. It is bittersweet, but it's time. People told me I would know when it was time, and it's time. So I'm not going anywhere. I still live in Plainfield, and I love Plainfield, and I'll help in any way I can.
Thank you, Louisa.
I guess I have to make a motion after that. I'll make a motion with, great regret in a way to see you go, but, to accept the, I guess it's a resignation and a happy retirement for our beloved town clerk.
I will second that motion. You know how I feel about you, Louisa. My 2 years here, you have been a wealth of information. You have never steered me in the wrong direction. I will always cherish the work relationship that we've had, but that we've also made a friendship that will last long through the doors of the town hall. So I appreciate all your hard work, your years of dedication, and the love that you have for the community. I appreciate that very much. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to accept the resignation of our town clerk, Louisa Tracus.
Thank you.
So item 4 is to consider an act on the CDBG Citizen Participation Plan. So, Ginny, that is, so what happens is the CDBG program, which is the program that offers the 0% deferred loan to income qualified families, you have to have that in order to run that program. And what happened is Plainfield first adopted that plan in 1992, and it was last revised in 1999. But because of the changes at the state level, that had to be updated to match what the state requirements were. So that is why tonight we have brought that forward to act on the CDB Citizen Participation Plan. And you have a copy of that. You should have the whole copy there.
And it doesn't look like it's any
No.
real substantial.
And if you look at it, you will see where it's not redlined on this because it wasn't copied in color, but also the highlighted, those are the changes that the state has made and requires. So those are the adjustments and the updates that have been brought forth in that.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised CDBG citizen participation.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to consider an act on the CDBG Citizen Participation Plan update. Item number 5 is to award the police cruiser bids. So in this year's budget, it was approved to purchase 2 new police cruisers. So the first one that we have is for the 2020 Dodge Charger. It came in the bid price of $30,605, and that was from Putnam Chrysler Dodge Jeep Incorporated. And then the second vehicle was for the 2020 Dodge Durango, and the bid price for that came in at $31,132.20, and that came in from Northwest Hills Automotive LLC. And when the bids come in, what happens when the bids come in for a police cruiser, they take the specs from those bids and they go through and make sure that the price that has been awarded in those bids, all of the specs match up. So these are the 2 bids that all the specs matched, and these are the 2 bids for the 2 new cruisers.
But we did receive additional bids on this?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Then I'll make a motion to approve the 2 bids that we received for the 2020 Dodge Charger from Putnam Chrysler Dodge Jeep of Putnam, and the second award to Sullivan's Northwest Hills of Torrington, a Dodge Durango 2020 in the amount of $31,132.20. Price on the first one?
So the second one is Northwest Hills Automotive LLC.
Oh, okay. Let me go back to
It's probably, because it's still Torrington, it's probably an LLC, and it would go by, it is Sullivan's,
Okay.
so.
All right. The first one is the Dodge 2020 Dodge Charger bid to Putnam Chrysler Dodge Jeep of Putnam in the amount of $30,605. The second is to award the bid to Sullivan's Northwest Hills LLC of Torrington in the amount of $31,132.20 for a 2020 Dodge Durango.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried to accept the bids for the 2 police vehicles, the 2020 Dodge Charger from Chrysler Dodge Jeep in the amount of $30,605, and the 2020 Dodge Durango for $31,132.20 from Sullivan's Northwest Hills Automotive LLC. Item F is other. So tonight, the only other that I would like to add, unless Ginny, you have something to add, I'd like to thank everybody for my 2 years being here. And what an honor it has been to serve the residents of Plainfield. It truly has been a blessing for me. I have always been involved in the community. I've always volunteered. And this was a much bigger level to be able to give back to the residents. So it's been an honor. And I have to say, I am proud of the way I served. I served with honor, with dignity, and always with the people's best interest at heart. So for me, I just want you to know that I may not be first selectman anymore. I am still a member of the Board of Selectmen, and I would hope that the new selectman coming in and the new second selectman coming in will always have the best interest of our residents at heart. I will continue to be a voice for the people, and I always say when one door closes, another door opens, and I'm not going anywhere. It gives me an opportunity to serve the residents of Plainfield with more time, and maybe in even a bigger and better way. But again, I just want to say I am honored. Secondly, I'm going to say what a loss to the town to not have Ginny on the Board of Selectmen anymore. She has been a big part of the town, not only as Board of Selectmen, Planning and Zoning, Board of Ed, and I know for Virginia, again, she has always served the town of Plainfield with honor and dignity, and that she will continue to serve in that manner. Madeline is not with us tonight, but what an honor. When we lost George, it was such a loss to the town of Plainfield. And I have to tell you that there was no other person that could have filled those shoes better than his wife, Madeline. They talked all the time. She knew more about our town and what was going on. And again, it was very difficult for Madeline to come in and fill the shoes of her husband, but she did it with honor, and I am very proud of her. And I have made 2 very good friends that will be with me for the rest of my life. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, that this was an honor of a lifetime, and I'm not going anywhere. So thank you very much. So G is open forum. So if we have any questions or comments, or anybody would like to say anything, please feel free. Just state your name and address, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Carla Desjardins, and I'm the chairman of the Democratic Town Committee. And we also are, very sorry to see Louisa's resignation. But as the Democratic Town Committee, it is our responsibility to find and vet candidates. So I'm here tonight to represent the Democratic Town Committee. And some of these questions may not be able to be answered tonight, so I completely understand that. But looking at the charter and the vacancies, it doesn't appear that there is a timeline outlined for a town clerk vacancy fill, whereas some of the other boards and commissions, it very specifically says within 31 days of the vacancy. So I'd like some clarity, if possible, on the time frame in which the town clerk position would be filled. Also, there's no procedure outlined for applications. Since we also received the notice, we notified the members of our committee, and we have received 3 letters of interest already for people interested in filling that vacancy. So my goal here tonight is to get a little more information on what the timeframes will be, what the process will be, and as many of you know, 2020 is going to be an incredibly busy presidential election year, including a presidential primary, which in Connecticut will be in April. So time is a person up to speed on election administration. So if the questions can be answered, what's the process from here? How will the board accept candidates? Because we already have 3 that have shown interest.
So I can answer maybe some of it. I may not be able to answer all of it, and maybe you can step in. So I know in the past what has happened. If a party has anyone interested, they submit a letter of interest to the selectmen, and then that also goes to the town clerk's office. Under normal circumstances, if the board, and again, this is different because it's a board or commission, they have 30 days. If the board or commission doesn't appoint in 30 days, then it's the board of selectmen's. But again, this is different. So I do know, and Louisa, please correct me if I'm wrong, that it is up to the selectmen to appoint a town clerk. Again, I know that you've done your research and we've done some research. There is not a timeline. So Louisa, if you have any other information that you can share, or?
I did reach out to the town attorney at the end of last week about time, and there is nothing in statute, or he confirmed that, because I couldn't find anything in statute or in the charter that stated a time. So there is nothing that I know of that that actually requires a certain time. But what the town attorney said is what typically would happen is if a long time went by, they would probably ask one of the assistants to be acting town clerk, because you need signatures on land records and vital statistics and lots of election paperwork and whatever. I'm not sure, and I wouldn't speak for either of my staff, whether or not they would be interested in taking that kind of responsibility on. So my recommendation is, and I did speak to Kevin earlier today, I know Kevin can't act until he takes office on the 19th, and I think Kathy has decided to let that go to the new Board of Selectmen. I'm hoping that they can act very quickly. I'm hoping, and I know it's probably not typical, but I would hope that maybe we could somehow start the person in December so I could do some sort of training, because I do acknowledge that next year is going to be a big election year, and that's a big part of the town clerk's job. So I'm not sure if Kevin wants to say anything now or not, but.
Sure. Kevin Cunningham, 405 East Pond Road. We did speak earlier, and you graciously offered to extend. And I think we'd look into that to find where we can find allocations for monies for that. But I think that's a very helpful offer, because you want to make sure the person who's coming into that capacity is up to speed. And like you said, it's a very difficult year coming up. So we'll look into where we can get some finances. And Kathy, you and I will talk about where we might be able to find some monies for that. But that would be fantastic if you could consider doing that. And then we can talk about the people you have in front of you, so that we can start working on it right away from the 19th on.
Sure.
Okay?
So I would assume the procedure then would be any interested candidates that come before us should be sending their letters of intent and resume to the Board of Selectmen. Would that be accurate?
In the past, Carla, it's always gone to the selectmen,
Okay.
and then to the town clerks, and then it's been shared. So
Okay.
if you have, which I know one has been submitted, I have it, and I also know the clerk has it. So if you have more, I would say submit them as soon as possible. That way I'll share them, and that way when Mr. Cunningham comes in on the 19th, he'll also have those.
Okay, very good, will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments for tonight's meeting?
Comment? Good evening. I'm Reverend Dr. Tadeusz Zadorozny. I'm pastor of St. Andrei Bessette Catholic Church here in Plainfield. I would like to express my words of appreciation on behalf of my own and my community to both the First Select Woman, Kathy Tendrich, and Louisa Trakas. Thank you very much for your dedicated service to our community. With all the respect for the separation of the state and church, our values for what is beautiful, what is truth, what is good, and never been separated. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or questions for tonight? So, again, thank you all for coming,
Make
and
a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. So, our November 12th, 2019 Board of Selectmen meeting will adjourn at 7:31 PM. Thank you all for coming.